What's up, guys, and today we're here for a new episode of Faction Tips. And today I'm going to show you guys the basic one-man faction base. This is if you're new to factions and you need a bit of help when you're thinking about designing your new base. So this is just a design that I came up with. It's not any new defenses, but it's something that should help you a lot when you're trying to protect your base from cannons and other players. So I'm going to get started right now by turning around and showing you exactly what I'm talking about. So as you can see, this is quite a small base. It's actually a 10 by 10 block base, allowing you to have 4 blocks of space on the outside from where the wilderness starts. That's where you'd start claiming out that way, and out that way, and that way. Now, anything bigger than this for a one-man base usually isn't really that necessary, and it's just more time consuming because you can really fit a lot of grinders into this if you go and you expand it upwards and downwards. Now this example is for a sky base. How I wanted to do this is you have the base up here starting at Y36. Well, okay, so you'd assume it'd be around Y90 because this is a flat land, and then it would go all the way up to sky limit, and you'd have grinders, chest rooms, potion rooms, brewing rooms, all that kind of stuff in there. And a chest room can easily fit into this, and there'll still be you still be able to make it look nice. It's not very hard to do. Sorry, I just had to move my headset a bit. And let's start off with the roof. So, as you can see, I have the anti-roof cannoning design on here. And what this does is, normally to cannon a roof, if somebody has pure slabs on the roof, let's start with the first example, all they would have to do is send one scatter shot over to scatter the whole roof away, because slabs aren't protected by water. That's the one downside of slabs. So you do that, and then they send a couple of sand onto the roof, and just land a couple more TNT onto that sand, and boom, they're inside of your base. Now this is another reason for having multiple layers, like a dry room or a water room underneath with this design, or just stacked up of these. And what this does is it basically stops the scatter from blowing up all of these slabs. Now there's this block right here, so when a scatter shot lands, it's most likely to land on this block and not fall into here. So it'll blow up here, maybe 1 or 2 slabs, and it'll be very hard to get a piece of sand onto that one area. Now people could land a piece of sand onto this block, but if they don't, it'll land on here and break. Assuming that they land a piece of sand on here and blow through this layer, you'd have another layer, but it would be kind of different. As here you got your slab on this layer. On the next layer, above or below, you'd have your slab here and your block here. So even if they blew through this layer somehow, they'd have to change up their cannon a bit more and move some stuff around to be able to continue cannoning downwards, and that would happen every time that you switch the pattern. So it's quite easy to do, just a bit time consuming on the side if you have a really large base, but it's something that you should really think about when creating a base on a faction server. So let's move on to the walls, and this is something that is well known and can be easy to cannon, but because this is a sky base, it'll take a long time to be able to blow through this if the cannoner is very experienced. Isn't very experienced, sorry. So how this works is you have a filter, that's exactly what these are called, that filters out the sand and the TNT. Now usually if the cannoner is not able to hit the TNT on one block or sand, it'll split off, and the TNT might hit over here, and the sand might hit here. So it's a bit harder to send a slab bust downwards and to blow up the slabs, which is something I'm going to talk about down there. You can see it's a bit different than usual. Now, you have these layers that go up like this, and what this does is it makes the cannoner have to readjust his cannon every time he wants to cannon another filter. Now, there are some ways to get around having to readjust the cannon, but this is a really good design if you're just on a server like Just PvP where long cannoning, or where cannoning isn't really the biggest thing on there. But this is gonna help you a lot if you're gonna design a smaller base. Larger bases do use this a lot, but if you're a small faction, if you have something like this up, most people will just say, hell nah, I'm not gonna waste my time, and they'll just leave your base alone. Now this design right here is something that you've seen on many bases a long time ago, if you're an old experienced factions player. And these are 45-degree angle walls, something I talked about in my last video on hub.subplex.net. Can't remember the exact IP, sorry. These 45-degree angle walls are stacked up to, oh god, sorry about that, stacked up to make the cannoner have to stack sand on the very bottom one, blow that up, stack a bit more sand, blow that up, stack a bit more sand, blow that up, and just to be able to hit like a large area in these filters and blow up a large part of your base. Oh, there's my dog. Now this defense is quite good, and I recommend using it again if you're a small faction. It's easy to build, doesn't take too much time, and doesn't use a lot of cobble. The only downside is that you have to dig trenches all the way below, like directly below this. You'd have to have a trench that's 6 wide by like however long your base is, and you'd have to fill the bottom with slabs or whatever you use for slabs, whatever design. Now let's move on to the final defense that I have here today, and these are spaghetti strainers, if I'm correct. Don't quote me on that, I'm not 100% of the name, but what this does is it's mostly an east to west defense. Sorry. Which is, I'll explain this really quickly. Minecraft, when you're shooting east to west, the TNT and sand tend to jump to the right or left when you're cannoning that way. Or it's backwards, I can't remember exactly how it works. But when you shoot the TNT and sand together, if you don't have a readjuster, the sand might hit this little edge here, and the TNT might hit here, which will break the sand and let the TNT fall down. So what a cannoner has to do is he has to set up a readjuster on his cannon and fix it so it only hits this block, and he has to then slab bust, stack all the way up onto this pillar, and blow this up. Now as you can see, I did this as a set of 4, and how you want to do it is exactly like this. This is just one set of these walls, because then it's basically you have to cannon through 2 layers, no matter how you try to cannon it. 2 layers there, 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 and so on. Now, you can repeat this defense as many times as you want, and it can be a bit painful to cannon through, but if somebody is inexperienced, it's almost impossible to, if they don't know how to use a readjuster. Now, let's get on. Get on to the technicalities of everything. Oh, okay. So I'll show you the slabs first. Well, kind of slabs. Now these are different slabs, and how it works is the TNT will fall down, get caught in either the cobwebs, or it'll stay up here, and it'll blow up, and it won't do anything. Now, when you're trying to shoot sand down, it'll go all the way down and just get stuck in the cobweb, and it'll just sit there for a long time until someone comes and breaks it. So this forces the cannoner to have to do a couple of different things, and it's just a bit harder than normal slabs, and it doesn't really matter. You can do either one, normal slabs or just this design. Depends on if sponges are cheap on your server. So here's an example in just easy to see. So you have two blocks between each sponge, and then you place your cobwebs all the way down along, and then for your final thing that you do, you want to lay these all out, have all the sponges and cobwebs and whatever block is in between them. I just put lapis because I like the color. And then after all of this is done, you put water then. Because if you go and you build another layer after putting water, all this water is going to disappear and you're going to have to put it back again. So it's kind of annoying, but yeah, just do that. So when you're building the inside of your base, you want to separate your floors with either a normal block or obsidian. I put obsidian here because on a server where creeper eggs are allowed, nobody's going to waste their time trying to creeper egg their way through, if it's a server like Dawn Troller, because creeper eggs are very expensive to buy, and it's just not worth their time. Also, no matter what block you have in here, for your the roof of your floor, like the roof and the floor, like in that one room, you want to have a separation with water in it. You can also put a separation of a dry room to stop glitchers. I've seen some bases, I remember when I played Battle PvP, this one guy had almost 10 layers of anti-glitch rooms and 10 layers of like water separation just to stop people from trying to creeper egg through and glitch through. So as you can see over there, I did use endstone and cobblestone. If this was my base and endstone was quite easy to get, I would have gone with pure endstone. Now this is because, let's grab out a flint and steel. Endstone has a higher blast resistance than cobblestone. So I'm going to show you what this means. I think endstone has 10 more blast resistance. I can't remember the exact number, but it's a bit higher than cobblestone. So there you go. So as you can see, this did a very large amount of damage, even blew up the slabs over here. And if there were more blocks around, I probably would have blown those up too. Now, so it did these two dirt plus all this cobblestone here, while the endstone did a couple of dirt, but that's usual dirt. It's not very high of a blast resistance, and barely any endstone. And this means a cannoner will have to put more TNT into the scatter shot to be able to create the same size hole in cobblestone. So this is something that you need to take into consideration when designing your walls for your base, whether it be a large faction or a small faction. Now, this design can be either used exactly as it is for a one-man faction. Also, you gotta say, you gotta water these. I just didn't want to put a ton of water and make it all messy and stuff, but yeah, I just left it dry for now. This design can be expanded, so you can just have these walls go out so as big as you need for like a base, like a 3x3 or more than that, or 2x2, whatever you need. And you can just repeat these designs, use normal cobble walls, whatever designs you got. But these are just really easy to build walls that can help you out a lot if you're building a sky base, or even a bedrock sky base. So I think that's about it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something today. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.